What are you doing to bring the next generation of leaders along inside your organization? This is called succession planning and obviously talent development. These are critical issues in your organization's evolution. Thanks for watching us here on WowBizTV. I'm Lynn Hinderrocker, and I'm visiting with Boyd Ober with Leadership Resources in the Lincoln, Nebraska area. Boyd, there's a whole generation of smart, talented, tech-savvy people that are eager to take reins. Are they ready? And if not, what is it that they lack? What do they need to know and learn before they can truly assume the reins of an organization?
Well, Lynn, nothing like starting with a loaded question.
Yeah, that's a tough one, I know.
Are they all ready? And the easy answer to that would be obviously no, but there's a lot of them that are ready to move to that next
level. A lot
level.
of potential.
Absolutely, an incredible amount of potential, our school systems today are doing a great job in terms of developing young people to think, and also from the standpoint of taking risk. And that's something to do with emerging leaders.
Fantastic. Now, if they're trying, how do they approach problems or decision making differently than the previous generation? We'll say the baby boomer generation. What are a few of the things that demarcate them or differentiate them insofar as their approach towards business?
Right. Lynn, I think when you think about things like that, people try to generalize way too much.
Yeah.
They put these emerging leaders into the X's and the Y's and the Z's and all these type of things. I tend to not do that. At Leadership Resources, we really focus on the individual, and we think about what does an emerging leader mean. And an emerging leader, quite frankly, depending on the industry they're in, the sector, they could be my age. They could be 25 in another sector. So the X's and the Y's really doesn't matter as much as are they showing signs that they want to lead others?
And what would be some of those signs?
Well, the signs are, do people gravitate toward them? Are they an informal leader? When this person is around their peers, do people look to take advice from them? Do they have the charisma and the characteristics that other people want to follow? And that's the signs of a leader. We look at a leader being someone that can inspire others to grow themselves and the organization they're with.
Yeah. When you see somebody that seems to have a lot of potential, let's say they're in their 30s, although they could be younger or older, clearly. What's the process? What questions do you ask that person to find out, to kind of say, how do we develop this person? We have some regimen, we want to bring this person along. What do you have to know about that? Their aspirations, their background? How do you identify truly an emerging leader?
We really are complex creatures. And it's a combination of a lot of things. It's a combination of how they think. What's their, we always call it IQ.
Okay.
What's their IQ? Are they intelligent enough to do what we're asking them to do?
Sure. Yeah.
And that's some of the equation, but also there's the CQ. Are they creative? Do they come up with ideas? But there's the stronger one that I look for, and that's that EQ.
Yeah, the emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligently.
Yeah.
Are they somebody that can take a situation and think about it without reacting too much emotionally?
And also being empathetic to other people's needs, putting themselves in other people's shoes.
A servant leader.
Absolutely. That leads to that philosophy. What about this whole notion of balanced life? We hear that companies struggle with these folks insofar as, putting in the extra hours and so on, and their attitude is, I don't want to work myself to the bone. Where's your take on that? Where do you go on that?
Well, I think, culturally, as a country, as a world, we've kind of transpired into another way of thinking about it. And we've had the philosophy, again, at Leadership Resources, we want people to think about 3 areas of their life.
Okay.
We want them to think about their work life in terms of what goals, aspirations do they have?
Yes.
Where are they going with their department, their career? We also want them to think about their leadership skills. How are they at delegating and involving others? How are they at communicating with others?
Okay.
A couple different examples. But the third area that is equally as important, and if you really want to get a holistic person, you want to bring in their personal life. How are they at setting goals for their own life in terms of their physical fitness, their financial well-being, maybe their spiritual or ethical, or even how they develop themselves mentally. So we look at that holistic nature of a person, and that gives us the best picture of how they're going to do as an emerging leader, taking over my role or another senior executive's role.
Do you believe in some of the personality tests and the various ways to typify people, or task orientation versus a relationship orientation? I mean, do people know themselves well enough? Do you ever see somebody who says, I want to go here and be there, but it doesn't seem to reflect who they truly are? Do you see that?
We see it quite often, as you do things. I'm probably the biggest cynic. I was years ago. I always questioned them, but I was probably too young and a little bit arrogant at the time to really think back on them and say, wow, this is something I should take a hold of. But once I looked into them deeper and really started to say, boy, develop yourself,
right?
I found that those assessments, when they're used properly to coach and develop people rather than to critique them,
invaluable.
Are invaluable. The more I know about myself, the more an individual understands themselves and how they operate and think, the better they are in their ability to be coached, Lynn.
Right.
And that's really a sign of a great emerging leader.
Absolutely. Well, Boyd Ober with Leadership Resources in Lincoln, I tell you what, this is fascinating, because this has been one of the issues that a lot of people really get hung up on. They don't know how to develop talent. They don't know how to find it. They don't know what they're supposed to give them that they're not already giving them.
And if I could add one more thing, Lynn, as we think about this, a lot of people want to just send them somewhere. Go develop. Now, and that's part of the equation, is to expose them to other things, but it's also an investment of not only your time, your money, but your ability to give them resources to develop from. And if the senior leaders are not willing to give of their time, how can we expect them to be able to articulate where we want to go as well?
And to step up. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Boyd Ober with Leadership Resources. We understand this whole generational issue. We understand talent development. It's been very helpful. Thanks so much for watching us on WowBizTV, and we'll see you next time. I'm Lynn Hinderrocker.